Hello, I hope you're having a great day. I will be showing you how I actually do my star time lapses. Um, in this frame, it's not exactly what I use, but this is some of the recommended items that I think you should use if you're starting out. And I will be showing you my editing process, how I prepare for these, and my process in actually setting up to do it. So we'll start off with the first item. The first item is a camera. You're going to need a camera, obviously, because you're going to want to take pictures. So I personally use the EOS Rebel T5i. Now, I think you can use any camera, really. I recommend, obviously, a lens that you can take off, because you never know when you're going to want to switch out a lens for like a wider lens like I have here. So we'll get that into the second item. But yes, you would want a camera that you can mount to a tripod. Most cameras, they come in like kits. I would recommend getting that because they already come with a decent amount of lenses that are good enough to use for time lapses. The second item we're going to get into is a lens. So I would recommend, I will take another video to talk about lenses, but I would recommend anything like a 24 to, like right here, I have a 24-70. I would recommend something remotely wide. My most recent video, which was, if you have not watched that, please do, was shot in 50. So 50 millimeters is good, but obviously, the wider you get, the better, the more stars you will have in one shot. So, you also, another thing you want to make sure, if you do get a camera, let's just say you get a Canon camera right there, you would want to make sure that before you buy it, it is labeled that it is suitable for your Canon camera. So, normally, as I will pick this up for you guys, but normally, it will have like a little label right here. You got to make sure it has the right one, because the Rebel one is known for being less expensive, more cheap. If you want to go for a budget, I would recommend doing Rebel. There might be more out there, but I don't really know. I just use Rebel because that's the only camera I have. But again, you want one that let you swap out the lenses. So another thing is you also, for these lenses, you gotta make sure it has a focusing ring. It's also okay if it has an aperture ring. We'll get into that in also the next video when I talk about the lensing, because this will be a multi-part series. Basically, it will have information here, but it'll also have it on the website where you buy it from. So you want to get 24-70, f2.8. I'll explain those kinds of things in another video. The third item you will need is a SD card. Now, you don't need a big 128 gigabyte SD card. I will recommend a big SD card, like maybe 64, maybe 16 gigabytes, mostly because of the fact that these images do take up a lot of space, and if you do not have the storage for it, you'll have to delete some of the images. So what I have is I have a hard drive that lets me store everything. So I have three SD cards. This is probably my biggest one, which is 128, and you can use these by putting them into the camera. So just on this camera, I don't know about any others, but on this camera, it'll show you how you put it in. And now you can take pictures. Hopefully you remember and you don't make the mistake like I did a couple of times where you forget to put an SD card in, but or you run out of storage. So you should always make sure that you put it obviously in the right spot. I don't know how you can mess that up, but let's just say if you do, you should always put it in the right spot. If it doesn't fit, it's probably not the right spot. The fourth item I would recommend is using a plug-in battery. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically, a lot of cameras have a feature where if I open the battery door, which I don't have a battery in right now, but if I open the battery door and, oh no, I left it open, your camera will not turn on. So what they make is they make plug-in cameras. So when you put it in, you can put it through this little hole right here and close the door. And now, like I have mine that's to USB-C. Oops. I have mine that's to USB-C. And all I have to do is get a USB-C cube and I can plug it into the wall so that you need this so that I will not run out of battery. The reason you need this is because a lot of batteries only last an hour and a half. Now you can switch them out every hour and a half. The issue is it'll look like it's better so that you don't have to do anything. So I'd recommend, and these are pretty cheap. I got mine I think for $10, maybe $15. I would recommend getting these so that you do not have to worry about having to charge batteries, because you might not have enough to constantly change them and they take a while to charge. Now for our next item, I would recommend using a intervalometer. If you do not know what that is, I will happily explain that to you. Basically, what an intervalometer is you will take long exposures, because that's how you see stars. I'll get in depth in that in the next video explaining cameras, lenses of my knowledge. I don't know everything, but this is what I know. Basically, the way this works, for this one I have, you just hit a button to turn it on. And any button, I guess just waking it up. So I'm gonna explain this one. This one you can find on Amazon it's called the Photolex. It'll be in the description of this video to the Amazon link. If you want to buy from somewhere else, go right ahead. But on the top here, there's a delay, long intervals, a number, and the little chime thing. You don't have to worry about half of these. Okay. What you want to do is you want to turn this on, and the delay you don't have to worry about. That's basically useless. The only two numbers you need to worry about, maybe three, is this one. You want to start off, you want basically infinite. Some of them say 999. That's also really good. But for the intervals, you have to, so I have a special setting on my camera, which I will get in depth to in the next video, is you want to figure out with your area, as I show you on screen, my area, there's a lot of light pollution. So I'll get in depth to that on the next video as well when I talk about cameras and stuff. So back to this. Basically, because of that setting, it goes an extra 3 seconds long. So you want to give it an extra second of time because it takes another photo and gives 2 seconds. So you want to do an extra second just in case something happens where it turns out not an extra second, and then what happens is the special setting where will accidentally keep on going while it goes to the next picture, and then it'll overlap until you don't have good pictures. So the chime you want to turn off, just because I don't think you want a chime going off if you have this in your room like I do, or if you have it in an area where you want it to be kind of quiet, and then again you'll hear the clicking from the camera. But yeah, so you want to get an intervalometer. Again, Photolex, you can pick it up from Amazon if you want to, but I'll go into the basics of this later in other videos. Another thing you want to get, probably the most important, is a tripod. So the reason why you want to get a tripod is because you want your camera to basically be not moving whatsoever. So I use this tripod sometimes, or I use a different tripod. This is one I do recommend if you want to get it, but really any tripod will work. Another thing you can do, which I don't recommend, is leaving your camera just face down. I don't recommend this because it'll probably ruin the camera, but you can do this. I don't recommend it. I would recommend it if you're taking pictures, not these time lapses. So this is like a must, unless you want to mount your camera onto something if you already have that, or you want to put your camera high up. But you want to have it high up to keep it away from falling, animals in general, and that kind of thing. So tripod is a definite must. If you don't have this, pause this video, go order one, and come back, or keep on watching, and yeah. So that's the gist of this whole tutorial. You definitely do want all of these items: the camera, lenses. This lens right here actually came with my camera, so it's a good lens because it has 18 to 55. 18 is good because this lens also doesn't do that. But you also want to find one, like I would recommend watching other tutorials, not even just mine, that'll tell you, okay, this lens is good, this lens isn't, and you'll figure out what you like. So I'll get into another video on that whole process.